Imagine the possibility of an empowering, transformative philosophy that fiercely questions if a single philosophy could radically transform the way you live, think, and perceive the intricate world around you. What if I told you that such a potent philosophy exists, not in the nebulous musings of modern self-help gurus, but in the grounded, pragmatic wisdom of Japan's most formidable swordsman, a legendary figure of mythical proportions who not only triumphed in numerous battles but also mastered the delicate art of living, Miyamoto Musashi. His name deeply resonates through the rich annals of Japanese history, not just for his unmatched, unrivaled skill with the sword, but for his profound, insightful understanding of life's deeper, elusive truths. Musashi was not only a warrior but also a philosopher, artist, and writer whose life's journey culminated in a succinct yet powerful manuscript, the Dakido, or The Way of Walking Alone. Penned in the seclusion of a mountain cave weeks before his death in 1645, the Dakido distills Musashi's lifelong learnings into 21 precepts. These principles aren't just tactics for combat but guidelines for living with independence, dignity, and profound integrity. The Dakido principles challenge us to confront our own lives with a sharper lens, encouraging a journey inward to discover what it truly means to live fully, independently, and authentically. In the next few minutes, we'll embark on a journey through these 21 principles, considering them not as distant historical curiosities but as living wisdom for the modern individual. You'll discover how embracing reality, mastering desires, cultivating integrity, fostering social harmony, and upholding honor can revolutionize your approach to life's myriad challenges and opportunities. Each principle, a stepping stone on the path to a more deliberate, fulfilling existence, invites us to reflect, adapt, and grow in ways we might never have imagined before. So, tune in and join us on this illuminating journey of exploring the wisdom embodied in Musashi's Dakido and how it can inspire a more intentional, fulfilling, and independent way of life. Principle 1. Accept everything just the way it is, no matter how harsh or unexpected. Imagine you're deep into an intense video game, facing a level that seems impossible to beat with all its complex obstacles. You've tried every strategy, but it feels like a brick wall you just can't get past. At this point, you have two choices: let frustration and anger take over, or accept that these challenges are just part of the game and figure out a new strategy or find joy in the tough challenge. Musashi's first principle is like choosing that second option in real life. It's about seeing things as they are, raw and unfiltered, not through the rose-tinted glasses of our desires. This principle doesn't encourage giving up when faced with tough challenges. Instead, it's about recognizing the harsh reality of the situation and dealing with it head-on without letting emotions cloud our judgment. When we start to see the world this way, many of our everyday annoyances begin to shrink, and we find a certain peace in knowing we're doing our best with what we have. On a deeper level, this principle pushes us to confront the true nature of our frustrations and disappointments. Often, our dissatisfaction doesn't come from our circumstances but from the gap between our expectations and reality. When we expect smooth traffic, a friend to always be on time, or a project to go perfectly, we set ourselves up for frustration. Musashi's call to acceptance is about bridging this gap, not by lowering our standards but by mentally preparing ourselves for the myriad outcomes life can present. It's about finding a rock-solid stability within ourselves that isn't easily shaken by the external world. This inner stability becomes a source of strength, empowering us to face life's unpredictability with a calm and centered presence. Principle 2. Avoid seeking pleasure for its own sake. Imagine there's a decadent, irresistible cake in front of you. Taking a bite is pure joy, but what happens if you greedily eat the whole cake in one sitting? You'd probably end up feeling sick to your stomach. This principle is like that scenario. It's not about avoiding pleasure or the joys of life. It's about understanding that blindly chasing these enticing feelings without considering the consequences can lead to dissatisfaction. Pleasure, when pursued obsessively as an end in itself, often triggers an endless cycle of craving more and never feeling truly satisfied. It's like chasing shadows. Just when you think you've caught one, another appears, keeping you in a perpetual state of wanting. On the other hand, lasting fulfillment comes from meaningful achievements and deep experiences. This is the clear difference between the fleeting happiness we get from buying something shiny and new versus the lasting satisfaction from mastering a challenging new skill or helping a friend. The first is temporary, while the second strengthens your sense of self and connection to the world. Consider the joy of learning to play a musical instrument. The initial pleasure might come from the excitement of buying the instrument, but true, lasting happiness comes from the hours of practice, the sense of accomplishment when you play your first song, and the joy of sharing your music with others. This kind of fulfillment is deeply rooted and enduring, unlike the short-lived thrill of a new purchase. To dive deeper into this principle, think about the cycle of consumerism. We are often bombarded with messages that we need the latest gadget, the newest fashion, or the trendiest experience to be happy. We chase after these things, momentarily satisfied, only to find ourselves yearning for the next big thing. This cycle is exhausting and ultimately unfulfilling. Musashi's wisdom challenges us to break free from this loop and seek out sources of happiness that provide deeper, more sustained joy. Reflect on the satisfaction that comes from helping others. When you lend a hand to a friend in need, volunteer for a cause you care about, or simply perform a random act of kindness, the pleasure you feel is profound and lasting. These actions foster a sense of connection and purpose, enriching both your life and the lives of those around you. Musashi's principle encourages us to focus on what truly brings long-term happiness, not just temporary, superficial gratifications. It's about finding joy in the process and the journey, rather than just the end result. This perspective shift allows us to appreciate life's deeper, more meaningful moments. Think of it as cultivating a garden. The joy of harvesting fresh vegetables or seeing flowers bloom is deeply satisfying, but it requires patience, effort, and care. The process itself, planting seeds, nurturing growth, and tending to the garden, brings a sense of fulfillment that far surpasses the fleeting pleasure of buying a bouquet from a store. By embracing this principle, we learn to savor the richness of life's experiences without becoming slaves to our desires. We develop a more balanced, thoughtful approach to pleasure, one that recognizes the value of patience, effort, and meaningful connections. This way, we build a foundation for a more fulfilling and contented life, where happiness is derived from within rather than from external sources. Ultimately, Musashi's advice is a call to mindfulness and intentionality. It urges us to look beyond the immediate allure of pleasure and consider what will bring us true, lasting joy. By focusing on meaningful achievements and deep experiences, we cultivate a life of genuine contentment grounded in the things that truly matter. Principle 3. Do not depend on temporary feelings. Emotions are unpredictable. One moment we feel on top of the world, and the next everything seems to be falling apart, often due to something as fleeting as a comment from a friend or a grade on a test. Musashi warns us not to make decisions based on these temporary feelings. It's like deciding to quit playing soccer because you missed one goal. If we acted on every whim, we'd be like a leaf in the wind, constantly tossed around without any direction. The key is to recognize our emotions but not let them dictate our actions. Instead, we should make decisions based on what we know, what we've thought about, and what's important to us in the long run, not just how we feel in the moment. Exploring this principle further, we see the danger in allowing transient emotions to guide significant decisions. Our feelings are influenced by a multitude of factors: our environment, past experiences, and immediate circumstances, many of which may not accurately reflect reality. Acting on these emotions can lead us to make choices that feel right in the moment but don't serve our long-term interests or align with our deeper values. By cultivating a practice of pausing and reflecting before acting, we develop the ability to respond to situations rather than react impulsively. This approach doesn't mean ignoring our emotions. Rather, it involves acknowledging them while also considering the broader context of our decisions, leading to actions that are more aligned with who we truly are and what we truly want from life. Principle 4. Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. In a world that often tells us to focus on ourselves, Musashi's advice might sound a bit strange. But think about it this way: when you're part of a team, whether it's for a school project or a sports team, do you only think about what you're going to get out of it? Or do you also think about how you can contribute to the team's success? Musashi suggests we take the second approach to life. This doesn't mean diminishing our own value, but rather not being self-centered. It's about looking beyond our immediate wants and considering the impact of our actions on others and the world at large. This broader perspective can make our personal problems seem smaller and inspire us to contribute positively to the world around us. This principle invites us to engage with the world from a place of humility and compassion. In a society that often measures success by personal achievement and accumulation, Musashi's perspective offers a radical shift. Thinking lightly of ourselves doesn't mean diminishing our worth, but recognizing that we are part of a much larger tapestry of life. Together, these principles form a foundation for living that is both deeply personal and universally applicable. They teach us to navigate life's challenges with calmness, to find fulfillment beyond the endless pursuit of desires, to make decisions with clarity and wisdom, and to live with a sense of purpose that transcends our individual existence. Embracing these teachings allows us to cultivate a life that is not only more peaceful and content, but also richer in meaning and connection. As we venture further into Musashi's teachings, we come upon a set of principles that invite us to consider the role of self-discipline in achieving inner peace. This journey into self-discipline isn't about imposing strict rules upon ourselves, but discovering the freedom that comes from understanding our desires and emotions. Let's explore these principles further, unraveling the wisdom they hold for us. Principle 5. Cultivate a profound detachment from desires. This principle is not a call to abandon dreams or ambitions, but rather a gentle reminder to hold them lightly, not clinging too tightly, but also not letting them slip away completely. It's about finding a balance, a state of mind where contentment naturally flows without being interrupted by the constant ebb and flow of desires. To delve deeper into this principle, consider how desires often shape our path. They can direct our choices, pushing us into a cycle of wanting and attaining only to want again. This cycle can lead to a life filled with chasing after fleeting moments of happiness while missing out on deeper satisfaction. Detachment, as Musashi presents it, is not about giving up joy or ambition, but about finding a source of contentment that is not dependent on external achievements or possessions. It's about savoring life's journey without focusing too much on the destination. By learning to find joy in the simple everyday actions, our life experiences, whether they align with our desires or not, become richer and more fulfilling. From grand plans to daily small goals, they are all shaped and guided by our desires. However, while these longings can spur us forward, it's often overlooked that they can also create pain and disappointment. But Musashi offers a contrasting approach: live your life without being reliant on desires. This doesn't mean we shouldn't have longings. In fact, beautiful longings can be a strong source of inspiration. But when we don't allow happiness to depend on achieving these longings, we create a space where we can find joy even when we don't have the things we thought we wanted or needed. Principle 6. Never be jealous. Jealousy is like a weed in a garden. If left unchecked, it can overtake and ruin the beauty of everything around it. We've all felt it, seeing someone else with something we want: a new car, a beautiful relationship, or even just the attention from others. Musashi teaches us that jealousy stunts our growth because it shifts our focus from developing our own strengths to obsessing over what others have. Jealousy is insidious. It creeps in quietly, and before you know it, it has taken root, overshadowing the good in your own life. It diverts your energy from constructive pursuits to destructive comparisons. Imagine standing in a garden, surrounded by beautiful flowers, but all you can see are the weeds. That's what jealousy does. It blinds you to your own potential and the beauty of your own journey. Overcoming jealousy isn't about pretending we don't want things. It's about changing our perspective. It's about celebrating others' achievements and using their success as inspiration for our own goals. Instead of feeling envious when someone achieves something great, we can choose to see it as proof that success is possible. Their journey can serve as a roadmap for our own, providing valuable lessons and motivation. When we free ourselves from the grip of jealousy, we unlock our potential for personal growth. This shift allows us to concentrate on our journey and the steps needed to achieve our unique success. Picture yourself as a gardener. Your job is to tend to your own plot of land, nurturing the plants you have and ensuring they flourish. If you spend all your time looking over the fence at your neighbor's garden, you neglect your own and miss the opportunity to cultivate something truly beautiful and unique. Jealousy can also breed negativity and resentment, poisoning our relationships and interactions. It can create a toxic environment where we are unable to genuinely celebrate others' successes. By letting go of jealousy, we create space for positive energy and genuine connections. We can build a community where everyone supports and uplifts each other, fostering mutual growth and success. Think about the joy that comes from recognizing and appreciating the talents and achievements of those around you. It transforms your mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance. You begin to see the world as a place filled with opportunities, not threats. Each person's success becomes a testament to the limitless possibilities that await you. Musashi's principle encourages us to water our own garden, nurturing our growth and blooming in our own unique way. It's about focusing on what we can control: our efforts, our mindset, our progress. When we stop comparing ourselves to others, we can fully appreciate our journey and the milestones we reach. Our path becomes clearer and our steps more purposeful. Consider the power of gratitude in overcoming jealousy. By regularly reflecting on and appreciating what we have, we shift our focus from lack to abundance. Gratitude helps us see the good in our lives, reminding us of our own strengths and achievements. It's a powerful antidote to jealousy, fostering a sense of contentment and fulfillment. In essence, this principle is about empowerment. It's about reclaiming the energy wasted on jealousy and redirecting it towards our own growth. By letting go of envy, we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities, allowing us to thrive and succeed on our own terms. Musashi's wisdom teaches us that true happiness and success come not from what others have, but from cultivating and celebrating our own unique journey. Principle 8. Never let yourself be saddened by a separation. Loss and change are inevitable parts of life. Whether it's moving away from friends, ending a relationship, or dealing with the loss of a loved one, separations can be deeply painful. However, Musashi reminds us that the pain of separation is part of life's cycle, not an end to our ability to find joy and connection. Dealing with loss and embracing change require us to find strength within ourselves and to remember that life is a series of connections and experiences, each shaping us and teaching us in different ways. Instead of being consumed by sadness, we can learn to cherish the memories and lessons each relationship brought into our lives. Musashi's wisdom doesn't diminish the pain of loss, but offers a perspective that helps us navigate it. He reminds us that every ending makes room for new beginnings and opportunities for growth. Think of separation as a chapter in the book of life. Each chapter, whether joyful or sorrowful, adds depth and richness to our story. It is through these transitions that we learn resilience, empathy, and the capacity to love more deeply. When we lose someone or something dear to us, it's natural to feel a void. But Musashi encourages us to see this emptiness not as a permanent scar but as fertile ground for new experiences and connections. By embracing the flow of life, we open ourselves up to new adventures and relationships that we might have missed if we stayed anchored in our sorrow. This principle is about honoring what was while being open to what can be. It teaches us that life, in its infinite complexity, always offers another chance, another meeting, and another reason to find joy. Principle 9. Resentment and complaint are neither appropriate for oneself nor others. Holding on to resentment is like carrying a backpack filled with rocks on a hike. It only makes the journey more difficult. Musashi advises us to let go of resentment and refrain from constant complaints, recognizing that these emotions and behaviors sap our energy and poison our relationships and outlook on life. Resentment often arises from feeling wronged or slighted by others, but dwelling on these feelings keeps us stuck in the past, unable to move forward. Similarly, when we complain, we focus on the negative, overlooking the potential for change or the positive aspects of our lives. Musashi teaches us that learning to let go of resentment and minimize complaints doesn't mean ignoring problems or injustices. Instead, it means addressing them constructively, seeking solutions, and focusing on actions that can improve our situation. This approach not only enhances our well-being but also contributes to a more harmonious environment for everyone involved. Imagine living in a world where everyone constantly grumbles about what's wrong. It would be a bleak place indeed. By letting go of resentment and complaints, we create space for positive energy, creativity, and problem solving. We shift our focus from what's lacking to what's possible. This principle is about freeing ourselves from the mental chains that hold us back and choosing to live in a way that promotes inner peace and outward harmony. Musashi's teachings remind us that our thoughts and attitudes have a profound impact on our lives. When we let go of negative emotions, we liberate ourselves to pursue our true potential. We become more open to opportunities and more resilient in the face of challenges. Resentment and complaint weigh us down, but by shedding these burdens, we can move through life with greater ease and purpose. In essence, this principle calls for a shift in perspective. It encourages us to cultivate gratitude, practice forgiveness, and approach life with a proactive mindset. By doing so, we not only improve our own lives but also inspire those around us to adopt a more positive and constructive approach to their challenges. Principle 10. Do not let yourself be guided by the feeling of lust or love. Feelings of lust and love are incredibly powerful. They can add beauty and richness to our lives, but they can also cloud our judgment. Imagine you're on a boat in the middle of a storm, and your emotions are the wind and waves tossing you around. If you let those forces guide you, you might end up lost or shipwrecked. But if you learn to navigate those waters with skill and awareness, you can find your way through the storm. Musashi's principle here is about recognizing the strength of our emotions without allowing them to dictate our decisions. It encourages us to take a step back, breathe, and think about our actions and their consequences. This doesn't mean we shouldn't feel or express love. Rather, we should love wisely, ensuring our decisions are made with clarity and consideration for ourselves and others. Think of a time when you've been swept away by intense feelings, only to look back and realize that your judgment was clouded. By mastering our emotions, we can ensure that we are not making impulsive decisions based on fleeting passions. This mastery leads to healthier relationships and clearer decision-making, grounding us in a sense of inner peace. Love and lust can be like a double-edged sword capable of immense joy but also potential turmoil. The key is balance and self-awareness. By understanding our emotions and not letting them control us, we can navigate our relationships with more stability and integrity. This approach allows us to build connections based on mutual respect and understanding, rather than just emotional highs. It's about cultivating a deep, enduring love that withstands the test of time and challenges, rather than being swayed by every emotional wave. Principle 11. In all things, have no preferences. This principle might sound strange at first. How can we not have preferences? Everyone likes some things more than others. But Musashi's point here is not about eliminating preferences, but about not being bound by them. It's like when you go to a restaurant and your favorite dish isn't available, so you try something new and discover you like it just as much. Being open and flexible in this way allows us to experience life more fully. We can find joy and value in various experiences, not just the ones we expected to enjoy. This openness leads to a sense of peace because we're no longer constantly striving for things to be a certain way. Instead, we can appreciate life as it unfolds, finding beauty and learning in every moment. Consider the freedom that comes from not being attached to specific outcomes. When we release our rigid expectations, we open ourselves up to new possibilities and experiences. This adaptability helps us to navigate life's uncertainties with grace and resilience. We can embrace the unexpected, and in doing so, find joy in the diversity of experiences that life has to offer. For instance, think about traveling to a new city. If you're rigidly attached to a specific itinerary, you might miss out on spontaneous adventures or local gems that you stumble upon. But if you approach the trip with an open mind, you can enjoy and appreciate whatever comes your way. This principle teaches us the power of adaptability and the peace that comes from embracing life's diversity with an open heart. Musashi's wisdom here is about cultivating a mindset of flexibility and openness. By not being tied to our preferences, we free ourselves from unnecessary disappointments and frustrations. This doesn't mean we don't have likes and dislikes. It means we don't let them control our happiness. We can appreciate the richness of life's tapestry, finding contentment in a myriad of experiences rather than being fixated on specific outcomes. Incorporating this principle into our lives can transform our approach to both minor daily decisions and major life changes. It encourages us to flow with the current rather than against it, finding serenity and joy in the present moment. This adaptability is a key to lasting happiness and inner peace, allowing us to fully engage with the world around us. These are the first 11 principles of Miyamoto Musashi. Even after centuries, we can still use them to develop ourselves. Click the link in front of you to go to the second part of the video. The remaining 10 principles are incredibly powerful and useful, waiting for you. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next videos.